Good morning, all. Welcome to our Friday, December 5th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. I am not new to the commission, but I'm honored to serve in a new capacity as the chair, following some great steps following our former chair, Lillian Curry, and grateful to my fellow colleagues for entrusting me with this opportunity. So I'm also going to say, give me some grace. Being the chair has a couple other responsibilities. And so grateful to the director and Evelyn and the team for providing me guidance in that regard. And so we will go ahead and get started with the meeting today. I am going to call the meeting officially to order and ask the director to read the preamble and the meeting instructions.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct their meetings in a manner modeled after Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that online participants use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the Wednesday noon deadline are collected by City Planning staff and disseminated to the Commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Proper channels for public comment include sending an email to the cityplanning@clevelandohio.gov address with a comment or a letter, calling or leaving a message at 216-664-2210, or sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall, 601 Lakeside Avenue, Suite 501, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. Our meeting rules and procedures are that the chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the Commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize Design Review Advisory Committee recommendations, if applicable, and any public comments received. Public comments received through the proper channels by the deadline are distributed to Commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff if applicable. The Commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any Commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called.
Thank you, Director. Evelyn, can you call the roll, please?
Anthony?
Present.
Fluker?
Present.
McCray Scott?
Present.
Sargent?
Present.
Slife?
Present.
And Whitfield?
Present.
Thank you, Evelyn. So our first order of business is to approve the minutes from the November 21st, 2025 meeting. We all have had this in advance. I'll just call for a motion for this particular item.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
Thank you.
Anthony?
Yes.
Fluker?
Abstain.
McCray Scott?
Yes.
Sargent?
Yes.
Slife?
Yes.
And Whitfield?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Evelyn. All right, we're going to move into our first agenda item today from the Near West Design Review, Northwest 2025-020. This is signage for Witch Doctor. A variance is required for this particular item. Do we have staff present for this one? Awesome, thank you. So we'll hear from staff first, but the applicant, feel free to come up. Are they here in the room or online?
I don't see the applicant online currently.
Okay.
If we'd like, we can move to the next variant.
Yeah, let's move to the next one. Are you up for this one too? All right, so we're gonna, hopefully the applicant is able to join us here in a moment for the Witch Doctor signage. We're gonna move over to Far West Design Review, FW 2025-017. This is Dante's Pizza signage. This one does not require variance. Do we have the applicant here, Mr. Josh Fargus? Present or online? We do know it's not the holidays yet, right?
Someone has their hand raised. I can't tell who.
My name is Trisha Naaman. I'm with Wagner Electric Sign Company. I'm
Hi,
representing Dante's. Hi.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Can you say your full name again?
Yes, of course. Trisha Naaman
Thank
with
you so
Wagner
much.
Electric Sign Company.
Awesome. Thank you. The slides are up here on the screen. You can go ahead and proceed. Just let us know when you want us to advance to the next slide.
Okay,
Great.
so
Excuse me,
Wagner-
Trish.
yes.
Sorry, this is Xavier Bay. I'm gonna go ahead and present your sign variances requested, and then you could go ahead and fill in more information about your sign proposal as needed, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. My name is Xavier Bay. I'm in the city planning commission staff. I'm basically a zoning planner. So this proposal you're seeing today is really just because there's an existing non-conforming sign here at the location where the Dante's Pizza is occupying. And so it's a 17-foot tall freestanding pole sign. And so basically the code only allows you to go up to 12 feet for freestanding signs. And so you're really just seeing this to hear, the changes that they have with their existing non-conforming sign. And so you can see it's in a retail district. It's right on Rocky River Drive. It's a mixed corridor here. You have residential uses, retail uses. There's even the nearby animal hospital. And so here's some more context photos just to show you up and down Rocky River Drive to the left and right of the property in question. There are already a series of pole signs in very similar nature to what you're seeing today. And so basically, the reason this is coming before you today is because this property is located in a design review district. And so this body has the jurisdiction to vary the sign code to be more or less strict in these areas. And basically, your determination to approve these sign variances are based on design compatibility, design guidelines, and minimum variation from the zoning code. And this next slide just gives you a description of business identification signage. It's identifying the name of the business. And so, as I mentioned, the variance is required here. So the code allows you to go up to 12 feet in height, but they're actually proposing 17, and so they require a 5-foot height variance. There's no issue with the square footage of the sign, as you could go up to 50 square feet in a local retail business district. And so that's all. It's just short proposal here. This is coming to you because it's an existing non-conforming sign. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xavier. Trisha, any additional context you would like to offer?
I think you did a great job covering everything. If there's any questions, I can answer them for you.
Okay, wonderful. I'll open up to my colleagues for any questions or comments.
Yes, Madam Chair, I don't totally understand the committee's comment about any future signs should conform to the zoning code. Variance should not be granted because the pole sign already exists. I guess I don't understand that. We don't have to take that in consideration. The pole exists. So if they want to change it again, I don't know why they would be forced to tear it down. That makes no sense to me. So I don't understand the context that was given unless someone can opine on it, hear from staff.
I believe that this comment was saying that we can approve the variance for this sign as it already exists, but if they wanted to put in a new sign or replace that pole sign, they would need to be conforming for that future imaginary new sign.
And that still doesn't make any sense to me. It exists. The pole and the sign exists. Maybe I'm being a little too picky about that. I just don't understand it.
To clarify, the recommendation from the local advisory committee was to grant the variance for this existing sign, just while making clear that if there were a future new sign, that they should conform to the height required by zoning.
Oh, I'm clear about that.
Yeah.
What I'm not clear about is why would they make a comment like that? That's all. And again, if there's no one here to talk about it, that's fine. I mean, it's just like having an existing building. It's like, okay, next time you come back for an alteration to your building, you need to tear it down and start all over because it doesn't conform. That makes no sense to me. That's all.
Xavier, is the existing height 17 feet?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll move approval as it said. It's an existing condition. There's a number of other signs in the corridor. I don't think it's an overwhelming number though. I'm happy that Dante's is investing in this location to stay in the neighborhood.
And I second.
Excuse me, sir, can you include the 5-foot height variance?
For a five, noting the need for a variance for a 5-foot height exceeding code.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Okay, Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you, Evelyn. Before we proceed, any sign that Witch Doctor Signage representation is here? Okay. All right, so we're gonna go back, still in Near West Design Review, to NW 2025-020. This is Witch Doctor Signage. This one also does require a variance, so we'll hear from Xavier first, and then we'll turn it over to the project representative.
Great, thank you again, Xavier Bay. So this property is located at 3314 Broadview Road. The proposal here is coming to you as 521 square feet of business identification wall signage. And so the zoning of this area is local retail, limited retail. It's a very popular business district, the intersection near Pearl and Broadview Road. Here's the aerial view just to give you some more of that context of the business corridor there. And so I also have some context photos to the left and right of the business in question. You could see just more storefronts. There's nearby car washes, dental offices, animal hospitals. Again, you're seeing this because it's a design review district, and so this body has the ability to vary the sign code based on the 3 criteria I already mentioned. You're really looking at how well does this suit with the nearby neighborhood, the context, and things of that nature. Again, I have this slide particularly calling out the business identification signage definition. And you're really seeing this because it's been determined that the artworks around the Witch Doctor name on the signs are all really integrated within each other. And so also the storefront is very small, and so you're limited on how much wall signage you could put up based on a ratio that's derived from the linear frontage of your unit. And so this property is already limited pretty much to 49 square feet of max square footage of wall signage. And so them requesting 21 square feet, they require a variance of 472 square footage of wall signage. That's about all I have for you. Again, just recapping those considerations that you have to derive from determining to accept these variances. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. Do we have Charlie, Ebby represent? Okay, if you can please come up and just make sure that mic remains green so everyone can hear you.
Absolutely.
Can you state your full name for the record?
My name is Thomas Charles Eby.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter now in hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much. Proceed, please.
Okay.
Slides, and then here's a clicker if you want to click forward to them.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, well, hello again. So I'm here to
propose a signage variance. The artist we have doing the sign is a woman by the name of Eileen Dorsey. You can see she's a popular community artist and has known in the area and quite accomplished. Trying to figure out the two screens, apologies. This is the location. You can see some of the work in progress stuff and a bit of how I intended to put a mural on the building here because it just thought it looked kind of plain. I wanted my business to pop. I wanted to add some more into the community. It already has a few more murals around, including one on another side of this building, also by Eileen Dorsey. So I wanted to add a bit of art. As the design you can see there is I presented this once before to everybody here. It was done initially as it was recommended to me, proposing it as a sign and a mural as separate entities. That was how it was conceived and how it was initially intended to be constructed. I'll go back. I've been told that because I put a wreath of vines around the sign, which I should have a picture of somewhere in here. They shuffled the slides around a little. I apologize. So that's, you see, the original design was just going to be a plain black background with the sign on it. And that was intended to be the only sign. There were some concerns with it just being a little plain and a little stark compared to the mural that was going to be on the other building face. So we put some vines and leaves around it in order to just make it look a little better, a little more aesthetically pleasing to from the street. Unfortunately, this also had the effect of tying the sign in with the front mural. And now I've been told we wish to present it as an extended sign, including the awning and both walls. So this would be the complete finished product. You can see the how it is, does tie together somewhat, but as separate entities, they were both already approved by this council. And I'm hoping that I can, get it approved this time as well. The community has a lot of support for Eileen Dorsey, a lot of love for her. And I think that her proposal looks fantastic. I think the building looks fantastic. So I would like to ask your permission to keep it up there.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would just direct my colleagues to the comments from design review, which are in our packet, and open up for comments or questions.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm glad that staff they were able to sort of work this out. As I contended last session with the applicant, this should have been considered one presentation in the beginning. Now it seems like it's clear now. So we're not sort of going back and forth about what's a sign and what's public art. So we appreciate you and we appreciate the time the staff has taken to clarify this issue.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions? Hearing none, we would call for a motion, and Xavier is putting back up on the screen the details for the variance. If you can please include that in your motion.
Madam Chair, make a motion to approve the signage as presented, including the variance of an additional 472 square feet for the total sign, which is 521 square feet.
You
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Prescott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to the Euclid Corridor Buckeye Design Review. First up on deck is EC 2025-032, African Town Retail. Do we have project representatives here in person or online?
Yep.
Come up, sir. Are you Mr. Myers?
Yes, I am.
Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Can you say your full name for the record, sir?
Joseph Myers, the architect for the project.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter now in hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Evelyn, are you going to advance the slide? Okay. You can just let her know when you want to
Okay.
move on.
Okay, this project has been before this board before. We're back for schematic, hopefully final approval. We received final from the Euclid corridor yesterday morning. And it's the same developer who is doing the remodeling of the old YMCA building for African Town Plaza. It's a mix of offices, apartments, and an event center. So directly across the street, kind of expanding on the African Town theme, is he's going to do a retail center with small services and community type businesses or small units directly across the street. So on Cedar Avenue between 78th and 76th. The lot is, there's no building on it now. It was community gardens. They've relocated to community gardens. They're up and running in a new location. And site-wise, it comes straight across from the sidewalk from his building across the street. It's a retail business, particularly on the entry level. It has sidewalks, doors that go directly into the businesses from the exterior, from the sidewalk around the outside. The one thing that's a little different on this one is that further development, we met with the sewer district and engineering, and we're going to require some retention. So in that lower right corner is a retention area. There's a pad on the left that's for a food truck that they will work with the kitchen and the event center across the street to provide, African themed food. The building's a combination of brick, like corrugated metal panel and cement board on the center area. The three doors in the center kind of open to an indoor court. I guess maybe to go to the floor plan. So that this area, has overhead doors that they will open. There'll be tables and chairs in there as well for community events, as well as eating for if you purchase something from the food truck, and just to support the other businesses that are going to be in the building. Again, all the entry-level businesses will enter from the outside, and then there are stairs going up that there'll be a center corridor to access the businesses on the second level. Sides of the building. We have an updated landscape plan to include the retention area. The Euclid Corridor Committee asked us yesterday to add some additional lower planting around the edges of the retention pond. We're working on that now with McHugh, the landscape architects for it. And they also asked for a little more landscaping along the fence in the back corner where there's less lawn space across here. Which we've noted that, yes, we'll comply with that, and they had some additional landscaping in front of the fence. Just some landscape details. We worked with one of the approved arborists to do a tree survey. He did go through all the trees on the site, determined there were no significant ones that we needed to deal with. This is the lighting plan that shows, foot candles for the lighting from the building. And, we were able to get the foot candles without bleeding over on the sites. This is kind of an old rendering, but it gives you a feel for the ins and outs of the units.
Thank you so much, sir. To my colleagues, again, just directing your attention to the comments from design review, but Mr. Myers addressed those, and also that while this was coming to us for schematic, the staff is recommending final. So consider that in your conversation and comments.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to call attention to the retention pond. Well, at least you're showing water there, so I need to understand what is it standing water? I mean,
There's little standing water that would be there most of the time in the very center of it. What you see around the outside is washed stone, but in a rain event, then it would fill up and then slowly drain down again.
yeah, I don't. In my opinion, except for a couple sites in Cleveland, we don't do a good job of dealing with these ponds and detention areas. In my professional opinion, they're not, kept. They put fences around them. I was just in University of Chicago 2 weeks ago, and I saw some wonderful applications of detention set basins, and I think we should strive to do better. I'm going to defer that to my colleague because he's the landscape architect, but I think hopefully we can make this better and not create such an eyesore and actually a hazard in many cases.
Madam Chair, to the applicant, he mentioned that they're considering with the recommendations from design review to put planting on the perimeter. Is there any thoughts that there'll be planting at the base of the basin as well? Or is that just going to be grass
Yeah,
to be cut?
it's just grass. It's hard to maintain plant because of it's during certain seasons, it's covered with water most of the time. And that's the idea for the washed stone, so that it at least, it's not just that the washed stone would look nice when the water's not covering it.
Yeah, as far as the drainage, I'm not sure that I'd love to see planting material at the base of the basin, but I'm not sure that's something that we can force the applicant to comply with, especially with regards to maintenance if they don't have, the maintenance to do so. What I would potentially recommend maybe as a maybe a way to get your maintenance, but then reduce the need for grass at the base is maybe switching to a smaller stone. And I think the wash stone around the perimeter is probably a larger stone. If you switch to a smaller, kind of more decorative stone there, I imagine that maintaining lawn at the base of that, especially with the steep slopes, is going to be kind of tough. It's going to get mucky and dirty anyway. So if you switch to a smaller stone, maybe a more decorative stone, you could reduce the maintenance there and then keep the planting on the perimeter. Will probably be easier to maintain. And also probably help with drainage as well.
Agreed.
Thank you. Other comments, questions?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll take a swing at putting together a motion here. I move to approve the project for final as submitted with the condition that they address all of the design reviews comments in addition to my colleagues' comments concerning taking or at least switching out the grass and putting stone in, smaller stone, to create a more, I guess, aesthetically pleasing and less maintenance intensive environment.
Understood.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slythe,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you so much.
Mark.
Thank you.
All right. We're still in Euclid corridor. We have a couple of demolition cases. First one up is EC 2025-037. This is located at 8514 Carnegie. Mr. Bowen.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you kindly. Oh, thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you say your full name for the record, please?
David Bowen,
Awesome.
Bowen.
Thank you so much. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter, now and hearing under the penalty of perjury?
I did.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, proceed. Evelyn will advance your slides.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. The letter I handed you, this is being done with Clean Ohio funds. And the mayor obviously gave a recommendation letter for this to receive the Clean Ohio funds. I also brought a copy of all the Clean Ohio funds that were approved, and that one was one of them, obviously. The contractor didn't know that they needed to come in front of planning commission, and what ended up happening is they mobilized, they went out there, and then they found out they couldn't do it because they went to pick up the permit. So I'm here to hopefully get it approved. The first slide you see on the right, now on the left, is the site itself. It's just past 83rd Street. It's an old auto body facility. Next slide, please. This is an image of probably about 2 weeks ago. The building's kind of falling apart. It's been in disarray for quite a bit of time. The bricks failing, there's beams inside that are failing, and you can kind of go through these. This just gives you kind of a flavor for the outside. And then we have some for the inside. So this is going to be cleaned up to VAT standards. And so there's going to be a complete demolition, which would include all the foundations, all the underground tanks under Buster, and then probably 2 feet of cover, and then seeded until we have a proposal that gets approved by this body. Some of the beams, as you can see, are failing. There's a steel beam that's failed. The pockets have all failed. And that's about it. I'll answer any questions.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. As we can see, design review is approving for final and planning staff is in support.
Pardon, Madam Chair, to the applicant, is this building still owned by Ben's Auto Body?
No, it's not.
Okay, I missed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you very much for all your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Nice to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now the work really starts.
Yes. All right, next item up is also another demolition, EC 2025-038. This is at 8302 Carnegie. Do we have Ibrahim?
No, Jihad.
Jihad.
Jihad
Okay,
Zayed.
sorry about that. Sure, there's a couple names listed there.
Yeah.
Can you say your full name for the record, please?
Jihad Zayed, Reliable General Construction.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter, now in hearing under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. Evelyn will advance your slides.
All right. So we have this rendering of the new gas and convenience store building that was built already. Let me start over. So I'm the contractor on this job. We pulled the permit, we got approval, the owner sent us a zoning planning approval letter. This was back in April. We got the permits, we got the building permit, we start building the building, everything's fine. We finished the building, we have occupancy of the building. If you go to the next slide, next, one more. All right, there is that one right there, yeah. There was an old existing building there. So once we finish the job, we come to the city of Cleveland to pull the demo permit, and Mrs. Sky's like, what is this? This didn't go in front of any board or anything. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a builder. And we have permits, we got inspected. So it's kind of a different situation. So here we are in front of you today, and yesterday we were in front of Euclid Corridor, kind of explaining what we're doing. They gave us some recommendations about the landscaping that we already got a landscape architect working for the owner of the building to spruce up the landscaping, move the dumpster enclosure, and there's something about the signage on the building. But the building's there. If you go down a couple more slides, you'll see that's our building permit that we pulled in, I think, May 7th. And that was the approval notice, and then our sign-off sheet. So, I mean, so I don't know what to bill. I'm billing, like, for the owner, I'm like, he's not here. I'm just, what should I bill him? Like a lawyer? You know what I mean? Like, what? You know, so, and, so here we are. So if you guys have any questions for me, more than happy to answer what I can.
Thank you. Okay, can we go back, Evelyn, to the beginning of, I just want to contextualize myself again to the new building and the one that's being demoed.
Sure.
So this was approved to be built.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in relation to this building, where is the building that is going to be demoed?
Right here, and you see what this says asphalt pavement?
Yep.
The old building is like right in the middle. This one's probably about 20, the back of the old building to the front of this building, they're like 20 feet apart.
Okay.
It's next to PNC Connection.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
okay,
like
okay.
83rd and Carnegie.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I just needed a little bit of the visual there. Okay, thank you so much, sir. So we do have a few recommendations from the design review yesterday. And planning staff is in support of the recommendations from the committee for final approval of this demo. So we'll open up for comments or questions.
I guess I'm trying to be clear here. I've been driving by this building. I drive by there almost every day from my house to my office. And I often thought why they're building that, but again, that's not my business, right? So having said that, what are you here to receive? I'm not very clear here. You started talking about demolition, then you started talking about the new building. So I need to understand what our purview is and what we're voting on.
We're going for a permit to demo the old building.
Okay.
The old building to move it. Well, he already moved into the new building because he has occupancy, but I want to move the old building.
But it appears to me they're conflating other requirements with the demolition.
I'd agree.
I don't think we should consider both of these at the same time.
yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Well, this is not your fault.
No, it's not. No,
It's
no.
not your fault. I think
The recommendations from design.
The
review.
recommendations from design review are for site plan recommendations for the project that's already been approved. And should not adhere to this matter with regards to the demo.
right.
Yeah, so this is,
Thanks.
yeah, it says design review kind of overstep here.
Yes. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah.
No, we're just trying to clear it up on our side, sir.
Yeah.
Clear it up for me.
So in that, just out of curiosity, because I agree, that was my point of confusion too. Were there landscaping aspects included with the approval for the new building?
I think everything that we saw on the site.
If you go back to the
Yeah.
site plan, let me go, there's some landscaping.
Okay,
So, yesterday they asked us to figure out something about this dumpster enclosure. They didn't like where it was. over
Okay.
here. We're gonna figure something out. There's an adjacent station next door over here. And there's like, what do they call it? Wheel stops in between. They asked us to add some landscaping over here. And, basically that's it. They gave us approval to demo the building.
and your position is that this can't work without, we have to lose this historic building in the middle of the parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I move approval of the demolition.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for the approval of demolition. Any discussion?
Yes, I would just like to make the comment that in lieu of the captain coming back to talk about signage and landscaping, that they work with staff to iron out any recommendations they might have relative to the new building.
Councilman, are you okay with that
Sure.
being included?
So, let me, because this is kind of confusing, because I own Station 2 and I built myself. This is the weirdest thing that happened after we got approval. Come back. Basically, we're gonna get the new plan for the landscape design submitted. You're telling me that we don't have to come back in front of this board again for it. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sargent,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion approved with that.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you. We apologize for the confusion. That happens sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. We're just waiting for our next project representative.
Not in the hallway. Give me a texture.
Public art?
Okay, we are waiting on the representatives from Bedrock, so we're going to proceed to our public art special presentation, CSE 2025-45. This is at East 79th Street RTA Station Artwork. Looks like we have a few different representatives here. If everyone can please make sure that your mic is on green. I'm going to ask each person to state their name for the record, and then I'll just swear you all in at one time.
All right. My name is Bob Peck, P-E-C-K.
Thank you.
I'm Mary Beth Fake, RTA.
Brian Temming with
FPKE.
RTA.
Awesome, thank you. Do you all solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter now in the hearing under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and proceed. Then we'll go back. This is before us for a final, and so Evelyn will advance your slides here, but feel free to proceed.
All right, next slide, please. So just some quick information about myself. I've been doing professional public art mural work for 30 years now. I have over 50 murals in the city and beyond, born and raised right here in Cleveland, and lifelong user of the RTA Rapid system. Next slide. This is just an example of some of my work here. I do colorful abstract designs. The one on the left is Irie in Old Brooklyn, and the one that was previous is West 78th Street Studios. I'm now working in three-dimensional work as well with other artists, which is kind of inspired the beginning of this project that we're talking about today. So what you see here is the proposed artwork for the East 79th Blue Line Station. Again, in my abstract style, very colorful. Some of the pieces of the art you'll see in detail here actually protrude beyond the extent of the wall. Next slide. With metalwork. So I have a metalworker that I've known for many years who has great experience with this type of work to create laser cut metal pieces, and he is online for any questions today as well. These will be stainless steel, powder coated, so they're very durable, more durable than regular paint. Next slide. And these just show some examples of some of the other pieces throughout the wall as well here. Next slide. Just for clarity, I've highlighted because I know they kind of blend in and they're intentionally blended into the actual painted parts. So the highlighted parts here show what the actual metal work is versus the mural itself. Next slide. The mural would be painted with artist grade exterior spray paint and exterior latex. So this isn't the typical hardware store paint. It's very durable, lasts for decades. Next slide. It's also going to be protected with a UV resistant and graffiti deterrent coating. So if RTA has any issues with vandalism, it can be power washed off. The UV resistant coating protects that high grade paint for even more durability. So it's going to last a long time, stay bright and colorful. One of my favorite parts of the project is I will be reaching out to East Tech and Cleveland School of the Arts. I was actually a Cleveland School of the Arts graduate as well. And I want to reach out to, and work with some of their students, bring them on for a paid internship. So they'll actually learn about mural work, public art work, and get the experience that hopefully maybe inspires some of them to get into the work that I do. Next slide. So quick information about Doug Myers on screen here, who is the metalworker, full-time sculptor since 2008. He's won several awards that you see on screen here and has a 5,000 square foot metalworking facility near Youngstown. So again, very capable and has the experience to do his part of the job effectively as well. Next slide. These are some samples of Doug's work, two-dimensional and three-dimensional. Doug's specialty is furniture fabrication, but he branches out, no pun intended, into public art as well. So next slide. So this is some information that Doug's provided. Again, if anybody has any questions, Doug is online for this. This just shows some measurements and technical specs of how the pieces will be placed. Next slide. Doug's also marked some anchoring points on the wall that he could go into any details about as well. Those are the dots and kind of lines there, I believe, representing brackets and mounts. Next slides. Just some technical information about Doug's mounting system. Just goes into detail that he would be able to speak on if need be. Next slide. And just a detailed shot of some of the mounting here as well.
Next slide. That's it for me. So if you have any questions, feel free.
Thank you, Mr. Peck.
Mhm.
Comments from RTA?
RTA, as you know, has a robust public art program. We have set aside 1% of the construction budget for public art. We do a public solicitation with a very large Arts and Transit Committee, which included people from the neighborhood, artists, as well as people who select art and RTA people. We got 18 proposals. We had 5 that we interviewed. Bob was one of them. We brought them in, evaluated, and Bob won. We love the color. We love the fact this is a new wall, it's a retaining wall, and we love the integration of the art in the community. The project is under construction now. Brian is the architect of record, and he's our project architect.
Bowen is the architect of record
Right.
for the station. You probably remember we brought the project probably back in December-ish, I would say, before this group. Yeah, we are coordinating with the architect, with the artwork as well. So we have been looking at the fasteners and how we will be mounting those metal pieces, just to make sure they are structurally sound. He did not mention, the edges will be rounded, the placement so that people don't catch themselves on it, cut themselves. Again, the anchors are designed such that they will hold up to any kind of wind or any abuse that our riders might.
And part of his contract is that we approve those drawings.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We do have one comment from design review, but other than that, I will open up for comments or questions from the commission.
Awesome mural. My old friends from RTA. Hello. But appreciate, what I most appreciate is involving our young folks, because in my opinion, they're the greatest resource in this city.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo Commissioner Fluker's comment. I think this is a project that, in my opinion, has all the facets of a great art project. I love the ability to reach out in 3 dimensions. I think Cleveland has done a pretty good job of 2-dimensional artwork across the city, so I commend RTA for doing that. One comment, I kind of agree with the design review recommendation. If there's any way for the landscape architect or the architects on staff to kind of look at the color palette that you've laid out and maybe mirror some of that color with some of the flowers or things that are in the landscape, I think that would just all add to the dimension of the work.
Yeah, I
So.
agree too. Yeah.
Any other comments, or can we move?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the public art project at East 79th Station as presented, with the caveat that the landscape architect and architect of record work with mural for the muralists or artists to come up with a appropriate palette for the landings.
A second?
I'll second the motion.
Actually, sorry, Evelyn, I just wanted to note, just for the record, that public art staff is in support of this project as well. We have a motion and a second?
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you.
We can go back to Bedrock now.
Okay. We're gonna move back to downtown, Flats Design Review, and welcome up the Bedrock team. This is DF 2023-058, Cleveland Clinic Global Peak Performance Center. We have a number of representatives. I'm gonna make sure everyone has mic access. For
You all like coming here, don't you?
We love it. Wait, thank you for having us.
the guys that are speaking. I'll just go ahead and ask you all just to state your name for the record and swear you all in at the same time. We'll start with you, Nora, please. Just name for the record, and then I'll swear you all in.
Nora Romanoff.
Thank you.
Colin Mavis.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Pongonis, MKSK.
Linda Henriksen, I'm with the Mayor's Office of Capital Projects.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter now and hearing and under the penalty of perjury?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Looks like you have the clicker here. I will direct my colleagues to a couple of items here. Bedrock is here for final approval. There are a number of recommendations from design review and a couple of other items for consideration, as well as comments from the planning staff. And so lots to cover here. I'm grateful for the time this morning, and we'll allow it to turn it over to you all.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, especially to the chair. To Mr. Fluker's point, we are back again and glad to be so. I do have to always take the moment to say thank you. This represents, our presence at the table represents not only many people and teams who've gotten us here, but as you all know very well, months and years at this point to continue our work on the riverfront. So we never take it lightly. We do have a pretty significant amount of information to share, although the committee will see, and we've kind of worked together from previous appearances to mark where we have seen and heard comments both from design review and city planning. We're fairly explicit in the deck just to allow for those notes of change, evolution, but also I want to note, and I don't think that Dan Schinkel is here. I think he's online. I think he's under the weather, but just wanting to note our continued partnership with City Plan, the director, Dan, and MoCap, specifically Linda Henriksen, Alicia Howells, and Katie Moore, who really get us through each day. So I'm going to turn it over to our team at MKSK to lead us through the deck and hope that you all will ask questions as we go along.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I'll just echo what Nora said. Please ask questions as we go along. I don't mind it, more conversational. So next slide, please. We'll start with, oh, me. I do. All right, so we are here reviewing the public realm for sequence 1A, which consists of Eagle Ave, West 3rd, and the initial Riverwalk sequence in front of the Global Peak Performance Center. Okay. This is just a zoom in, designating those areas and the public streetscapes as 1 and 2, and then the privately owned publicly available Riverwalk is number 3. And since this project has been progressing and moving along, we have an updated context imagery here just to show where those spaces will land in this very busy construction area down by the Global Peak Performance Center. These were recent drone photography taken this fall, so you can see how the site is taking shape and how these elements will fall within those spaces. We also wanted to zoom out and acknowledge that this will be part of many of the existing and future systems that are developing across the city, which is really exciting for the project and for the city. So at the northeastern portion of the site, we connect with the Memorial Bridges Loop Trail at the top of Eagle Ave. The cycle infrastructure that is connecting all of our project then also has the future connection to the East 9th extension as an on-street facility, and the Riverwalk is proposed to continue connections along the riverfront through the Riverfront Master Plan area, and then eventually connecting to the exciting plans for Canal Basin Park and the towpath connections there as well. I swear I only hit it once. 1 second, sorry. Yeah. Oh. So zooming in and taking a look at these spaces, you can see the right-of-way areas defined here and the extents of this public realm improvement project. We'll walk through each of these. I am not. There you go.
Happy
Yeah, I guess. So starting at the intersection between Eagle Ave and West 3rd, you can see the cross-section there remains the same as previously proposed, with one revision at the next in between the cycle track and the sidewalk. In discussions with the city, we've been able to increase that to a 9-foot tree lawn for more robust tree canopy and maintaining that same 6-foot sidewalk. We are currently working with the city on the street lawn on the Page South side of West 3rd. There is a utility, a water connection utility proposed in that area, and it's
uncertain at this time what type of vegetation can be put in there, if any. So we're continuing to explore that. And then we have extended the sidewalk along Stone's Levee, and in response to previous comments received, the raised crossing has been incorporated into the Cavs clinic driveway that matches the same treatment that is happening, or sorry, at the Cavs entry that is happening at the clinic. Coming down the streetscape, you'll see the same cross section and the connection to the on-street improvements that will happen in the future. And then here you can see the cross section, all dimensions similar to before, aside from the planting buffer, which has been increased to about 9 foot to max out the 70-foot right of way. We're now turning our orientation and marching up Eagle Ave and the streetscape improvements that are proposed for that area. So calling out the raised condition again, same driveway though. And then moving further up, the cross section remains the same with the 2 drive lanes, 2-way cycle track and sidewalk spaces all along Eagle Ave. And then connecting up to Ontario, we are continuing to work with the city on that connection and the specifics of the connection to Memorial Bridges Loop Trail. And I believe the crossing that is happening here, we're showing this for context today where it is in space and time, but I believe Ontario is coming back for a separate presentation as that coordination is continued to be flushed out. So a view of the cross section, again, no changes here from previous review. We have provided, as part of this presentation, additional information as the bridge design has developed. So this cross section is depicting the different materials that make up the 2 bridge sections and the intermediate MSC wall section. So you can see the lower section by Global Peak Performance Center is proposed to be a galvanized steel structure on concrete piers. Then we have an MSC structure with form liners that have a pattern imposed on them, and then the steel girders on the section from Canal Road up to Ontario is weathering steel girders on concrete base. So with that, and
is there specific?
So I believe it was because of the adjacency to the building, but I have to get confirmation from Osborne.
Yeah, it's interesting that the weathering steel, based on the kind of the appearance of the Cavs clinic, that the weathering steel is further away. I would imagine that that would complement the kind of brown or bronze-ish facade to kind of carry that all the way through, but.
Yeah, I think to the chair, to the commission member, I think to Colin's response, Osborne Engineering is doing our bridge process. I think it's a great question where design and function meet, and we'd be happy to follow up on that.
So coming back to just looking at that and a little bit closer up in enlargement, this is a split of the 2 showing the detail and how the systems underneath pass through. So we have truck access and car access for the Global Peak Performance Center, as well as connection to for an easement along the back of the building. And then as you move up, it will span over Canal Road and the RTA tracks. So there's been a lot of coordination across all of those entities to make sure that all of the requirements and standards are met. And so looking a little bit more at the detailing of the bridge, this is an ODOT standard designed bridge, so we have to fall within those requirements. As we're also studying other treatments that can be applied and upgraded to the kind of standard materials that are part of that palette. So you see in the upper left, the exterior wall treatment is a very simple form liner treatment that creates just a parallel line. We wanted to make it very simple, really celebrating the materials that are there, but not really trying to pull away from them. It's a very long bridge, so not trying to create too much fine detail in something that's going to be perceived from very far away. But on the areas where people are going to be up and touching the parapet wall and interacting with it on the interior, we have proposed a custom form liner that you can see there with the faceted design that is also mimicking the faceted design of the railing on the riverfront, so trying to create a connection there. The materials here are, we've incorporated a wood handrail and stainless steel mesh as an upgraded environment for the public realm, as well as the powder coated verticals for the posts. You can also see on the right-hand side, the treatment for the MSC wall. This is a standard form liner, but it is mimicking the forms of what's proposed for the custom.
Madam Chair, question to the applicant with regards to the maintenance. For the maintenance of this bridge, particularly, I'm just in question the wooden handrail. Is that a city of Cleveland to be maintaining that or Bedrock?
To the chair, to Mr. Sargent, this is a conversation we've had a lot. Once the bridge is complete, we will work through a handover process to the city of Cleveland, and maintenance will be shared between the city of Cleveland and Bedrock. And it's, yes, and specifically in discussions on the handrail that did come up.
Yeah, just a, it's going to be in the public realm, and a wooden handrail that long. If there's sections that will be vandalized or will come apart, I imagine that I know it's a sustainable kind of material, but in such like a heavily used area, I might imagine that something a little bit more durable could be beneficial. If again, just thinking about the long-term maintenance of that.
I think it's also the balance of in the public realm and within, a bridge that is really, there are a lot of guidelines associated with the bridge, wanting to elevate the design and taking advantage of the unique partnership. But we understand and definitely acknowledge what you're saying.
Madam Chair, since we are on a conversation of maintenance, I spent a week in Philadelphia over the holiday, and one thing I found really interesting is there was someone out cleaning the bike path every day. Every day. Literally, I looked out have my tea, my cup of tea, I opened the blinds, and they're out there cleaning. And I guess what I'm asking, again, how's that going to be maintained? Because too often as a bike rider, I travel through the city and I have to dodge sediment and all types of things that sort of gets brushed over into the bike lane. So if you guys could opine on that as well, thank you.
Sure, the chair to Mr. Fluker. I think, again, there's the kind of binary opportunity here of what we call public realm is in many cases a public realm right of way, as one would know it. And then there's the shared kind of privately owned public spaces. I know that's also a formal term. So and so in the public realm on the Riverwalk and the bike facilities there, that will be a Bedrock led maintenance process. I would defer to the city to say too much about the maintenance of the bike lanes on 3rd and Eagle, but.
Just to add a little bit to that, I know this commission is very familiar with the Cleveland Moves plan that you adopted in April that calls for 50 miles of comfortable, high comfort bikeways, including separated bike lanes like you see here. The two-way facilities that Bedrock is proposing and that we've worked with them are more maintenance friendly because they do have that width that can be served by a pickup truck sized vehicle. As we're looking at one-way separated bike lanes across the city as well, we're working with Public Works on getting those narrower sized vehicles that can service lanes that are in the 7-foot range. So that is very much something that we're evolving forward along with the plans and infrastructure that's coming in front of the commission for a maintenance plan side by side. These will be maintained similarly to what we see on the Detroit Superior Bridge currently with that extra wide separated bike lane on the south side that the city serves with our pickup truck vehicles that we do have in our fleet currently.
Thank you. There you go. So taking a look at a couple of views here. This first view is taken from the vantage point of over the Lorraine Carnegie Bridge. So looking at how the bridge structure itself descends down to West Third from Ontario. It's about an 80-foot descent. And so in that respect, it is a unique bridge in that the structure isn't kind of at the same elevation and at vantage point across its entire span. And so that's been something that's really been unique to think about in design as it's moving through this space. It will be very low profile from anyone traveling on Ontario. Most of the vantage points will be coming from either across the river from Huron or as you're on the bridge from Ontario, as well as if you're on the streetscapes down in the flats area. And so then this is just a look at a before and after of how that bridge will knit through everything that is happening from Ontario to the Global Peak Performance Center. So this is fall, the Global Peak Performance Center, and this is what is proposed and how that bridge will come down and descend and pass under the occupied space for the Global Peak Performance Center, where it intersects with West Third and has the trailhead to the riverfront as well. And so a little, just again, here, very little change from last time in the materials. We are having some specialty materials as you get to that intersection, really trying to celebrate that new entry point to the riverfront. So some buff wash material. We have upgraded the bike lanes to a more contrast friendly material with integrated color in addition to the top seating. So that will be here as well. And then the street trees that you see along West Third. Once it gets onto the bridge profile, then it becomes more of a standard concrete broom finish. And so similar materials as shown before. The only change here, we did work with the city on the integral color. And as noticed previously, our specifications call for up to 4 mock-ups of this material to make sure that the contrast is meeting requirements. Another element that we've been collaborating closely on is the lighting and making sure that the private lighting and public lighting are all working together and speaking to each other. We have upgraded or updated this document to reflect the pedestrian scale that will be on the west side of West Third and the 30-foot poles that will be on the, I don't know how to say north and south. Yeah, I did. I'm going to say parcel 19 side of West Third, and then on the Cage south side of West Third is the 30-foot poles, and the intersection as well will be lit by the city standard. The poles along the bridge remain unchanged.
Madam Chair, to the applicant, I appreciate the level of detail in terms of coordinating the private and public lighting. One thing that I think sometimes is missing, I'm sure you're coordinating this, is just the kind of similar color temperature, especially between fixtures. You know, some of those like more industrial fixtures don't have the variability in color temperature, just making sure that as we start from, I'm assuming, really warm colors that are coming out of the building and then the landscape directly adjacent, that we kind of continue that and we don't have this stark transition to really like 4,000 Kelvin, really white, crazy, stuff. It'd be really nice for that place to, as Director Flukers travels, he was opining on the difference in landscape. I was recently abroad in Rome for Thanksgiving break, and just like the level of glow and attention to detail that the city is safe and lit, but not stark, just that kind of coordination across all the fixtures would be really appreciated.
Very, very much noted. And yes, the private side stays within the 27 to 3,000 range. We do have RGB fixtures that are proposed for a couple of moments along the Riverwalk, and then we are doing that same level. The lighting designer for the city lights is the same for the Riverwalk, so she's maintaining that same coordination. So. This is a look at the scale of the different fixtures. So we'll have the 30-foot poles in coordination with the pedestrian poles that are the 16-foot height. And now coming down to the river walk and the riverfront. So noted here some of the revisions from last time, the material differentiation for the cycle track. We've adjusted the clear zone from the front of the tightest portion of the front of the bench to the cycle track to be a minimum of 1.5 feet and provide that consistent raised crossing across all driveways. I'll look at some of the dimensions here. So we have roughly about 30 feet for the public realm in this area. That's divided into the 10-foot zone for the planters and benches, a 10-foot cycle track, and a 10-foot shared, or not shared, pedestrian path along the riverfront. Looking at a view from the intersection and how that raised crossing will look as you're inhabiting the space here. So it will provide a consistent ADA accessible crossing there. We're also noting the changes here, integral color to the bike lane, the 1.5 foot minimum extends wider than that as the bench is angled, but we've made sure we've pulled all the bench or the planters back to accommodate that. And the tactile warning for any visually impaired people walking along the pedestrian way here so that they know where the
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. In terms of, and I just learned this through my many years of travel and trying to select concrete colors, concrete fades. And when you think there's a contrast, double it or triple it.
Yes.
No, seriously, because what'll happen over time from you just in the rain and sun and all the elements, those two surfaces will look almost the same. So that contrast has to be pretty pronounced, in my opinion.
Excuse me 1 second. I just want to ask folks in the bay to just minimize conversation so we can hear our presenters well, please. Thank you.
I think you guys are also adding stone, like
The
top
top,
seating.
yes.
So yeah, I think that'll also help because
Yes.
that won't fade as well as much as the integral color.
But it is noted. We agree with you. In our experience, light things get darker, dark things get lighter, and you can have kind of a grayish there. So we do, we don't want black and white concrete, but we do want enough tone differentiation to make it meaningful and yeah.
Yeah, and also the tactile separator as well too.
Yeah.
Will probably help for sure.
I think so.
Thank you.
What to that point before we change, one thing that we're not seeing, I'm sure there's going to be additional jointing. That jointing will probably also help indicate the movement of travel.
Yeah, we're trying to highlight here.
Yeah.
The sort of the diagram rather than
Yeah, and that my note, we take this very seriously, and so my note about the 4 mock-ups was really to that point, like we want to see it. We're going to want to see it demonstrated before we approve anything going in also, so. All right. Again, here just showing the differentiation in materials, highlighting where we have the planter walls versus the integral color, the buff wash, pedestrian thoroughfare, and then we have an aggregate grove area in that space along the riverfront. I'll look at some of the materials here. One thing that was noted was a question about the stone slabs in DRC. That is actually what the material that we are proposing is those stone slabs. They're big and hefty and will serve as informal seating as well as some of the safety elements along the riverfront as well. Lighting, as I mentioned, we have the RGB and then just standard pedestrian pole light along the riverfront that's being coordinated with the other lighting facilities and also with the lighting with the cabs. And then some of our seating elements and other furnishings. We have custom benches along the planters that are integral to the planters and then a chaise lounge and bench feature that's out near the waterfront as well as bike racks and the lights you can see here. In our planting scheme, we are coordinating with those openings for the public art along the building. So I've been spacing the trees to adjust for that. You can see the gaps in the trees there. Using a palette of a wide variety of trees here, trying to meet the diversity goals of the city for species, as well as incorporating some spring color. And so you can see the species select palette here. It's fairly robust for this area, but it should create a lot of interest, and it's all native species to Northeast Ohio, as well as the understory, starting to incorporate some shade tolerant species, but really maintaining that kind of loose meadow aesthetic that you've seen in the renderings. And with that,
Thank you all so much. Director, was there any additional context you wanted to offer or provide before we open up for conversation?
Thank you. Yes, we have our planner, Dan Schinkel, online, who I would invite to go through a quick staff report, and then I'll conclude with final comments, if that's okay.
Dan, we're ready for you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the commission. This is Dan Schinkel, Principal Planner, Major Projects and Public Realm. It's a great day to be looking at this final review. This is a time where we can, kind of celebrate rebuilding a connection from our core to our shore. It's really the first section of Bedrock's Riverfront Trail getting approved to, move forward into construction. We also were kindly enough from Nora and her team able to walk this site of the Global Peak Performance Center, currently going up and actually soon to be enclosed. So that was a really lovely opportunity to see how the site has moved along. I'm sorry, I'm only coming to you virtually today. I'm a bit under the weather, trying not to spread my contagion. But just wanted to walk through the Downtown Flats design review process and where we are today with the approval. It came through design review just a few weeks ago. Couple notes from that committee just around final material selections and things like that we'll work through with the applicant. They've been really good about providing every bit of detail that we need. And then a couple other elements that were brought up in that review, some of which the applicant has already addressed today, and some of which will actually be coming back to this commission at a later date. So today our condition, our sole condition that we're really looking for is to just coordinate with us on the width and location of the Northern Cleveland Clinic driveway. And then we have some other considerations and wanted to note some exciting parts that they've been able to advance on. Also just want to quickly note that the Eagle Ontario intersection is not part of this review today, so that will be coming back to the commission at a later date, along with its sort of gateway design. And then the signage packages, both for sort of the exterior spaces and the building itself and any public art, will also be coming back to the commission. Evelyn, you could advance to the next slide. Wanted to really highlight the updates that they made here. We started working with the Bedrock team on really delineating the bike lane from pedestrian spaces all across the project. And this is one that we really honed in on because of the what we hope to be quite a confluence of people coming to this site, especially as time goes on and the whole system is built out. And I think people will want to come just see the Global Peak Performance Center as well. So the tactile warning strip is something that we brought to their attention, gave a number of references from other cities. It's actually not a standard that has been formally adopted yet by the Access Board, but is quickly becoming a best practice. And we really appreciate the Bedrock team building that tactile warning strip into the design. Next slide, Evelyn. And then we've also wanted to thank the team for raising the crossing across the Cavs driveway here. It increases the accessibility for the site and the Riverwalk itself. Do want to note that the we really were pushing to get direct access from the entry plaza to the Riverwalk. The applicant wasn't able to do that from the prior condition. They actually, if you look at the images on the right, the top schematic view shows kind of where they were, and the bottom final view shows the raised crossing. But they also had to close the area that really would have provided that direct access from the entry plaza to the Riverwalk. There were some grading challenges that they had, and just wanted to note that that was a part of the condition they were unable to meet prior. Next slide, please. And this should look pretty familiar. This was also adopted by the commission during the private site review. We're just continuing to have this go into the final approval to keep kind of the private building and housing permitting process and the public right-of-way permitting process conjoined together. But basically, in a number of conversations with traffic engineering and the fire department, we were able to get some agreement around some of the congestion and safety concerns we had at this intersection and minimize some of the sizes of those driveway widths, even up to 12 feet on the northern drive. We'll continue working with the applicant on this to just shore up any details, but this does make for a further distance from the intersection so that cars aren't necessarily clogging that pathway and blocking the bike lane and things like that. It narrows that driveway a bit, improves some sight lines as folks are coming down the bike lane there, and drivers having to look over their shoulder basically to see oncoming bikes. So these are some safety issues that we would like the condition to adopt, the commission to adopt as conditions today. Next slide, please.
Madam Chair, before Dan continues, does he have any more comment on the utility infrastructure on the south side of the street and kind of the conversation about being able to put street trees there? I know we talked, you guys mentioned that, but I imagine like having that street be completely bare, trees on the opposite side, if there's something that the city can do. I know utilities are hard to move, but.
To the chair, to Mr. Sarge. Oh, that was to Dan. That was what I was going to. We can also address it. Yeah. Maybe I'll go first, and Dan can. The chair to Mr. Sargent. It's a great question, and what I would note is it's a very specific situation where we're working together with water pollution control and the city's arborists to ensure that what we do put in on that western side of West 3rd Street is not going to run into a conflict with the utilities and then be disrupted. So the note is specific to street trees. I think, and initially when we came in, it was, I believe, large or medium street trees were proposed. That proved to be a conflict for water pollution control. We're awaiting the department's conclusion on that, but we'll, of course, take recommendations on plant material that can go in.
And through the commission chair to Commission Member Sargent, we've had ongoing discussions about that area. There are some very constraining utilities there because of the water table with the river. So it makes it a little more challenging than a typical situation. So we are looking at some other options. Some of the more short-term, I think, easier lifts have been just looking at ornamental grasses and things of that nature. You know, if you think about the Celebreeze Plaza and some of the grasses that are outside of that space around the federal building, those seem to do very well, salt tolerant, and could be really good in this location as well. I just have a couple other future considerations that I wanted to bring to the commission's attention. These aren't conditions, but as we continue to build this out, this is truly the first segment of Bedrock's Riverfront trail system going in. And something that we really want to emphasize as we continue this process is Riverwalk accessibility. We're going to have a lot more intense grading challenges than even this one. And this one certainly was had a series of challenges to it. But as we continue westward towards Canal Basin, the grade challenges are going to be more and more significant. And I think what we really have to do is double down on accessibility and how we're going to make these spaces fully accessible and make it really feel radically inclusive for all folks. So what you're seeing on the screen on the left is really some of the examples of what is referred to as companion seating, which allows for folks in wheelchairs to sit shoulder to shoulder with folks that they're in their party, friends and family. And a beautiful way that Sasaki was able to build that into the Chicago Riverwalk. If you see that little notch out, they built these incredible custom structures that function both for users just looking out onto the Riverwalk. But if you've been to this location, there's some restaurants above that are also integrated into the backside of that seating structure, like a bar top. It's quite a lovely experience. And that notch out provides some space for folks in wheelchairs to sit next to their companions as well. Sasaki wrote a lovely, piece on trying to integrate these standards into places like this, both bridging the sort of public and the private, and just acknowledging that the code just really isn't up to snuff. It's behind many decades. I think we're aware of that in many different ways. So really, what are the best practices around accessibility? We really want to push ourselves at the commission and the Bedrock team as well to being radically inclusive and accessible, both with custom designs and available furnishings. And next slide, please. And then finally, as we continue to design out the Ontario Eagle intersection and where we align with the new Memorial Bridge loop and the existing Metro Parks trails, we're really trying to think about how this is one of the first truly new core to shore connections and making those safe, exciting, beautiful, integrated into these lovely trailheads that are already existing there as well. And marking this as a sort of threshold from the Gateway District to the new Riverfront District. For many years, this will be the most direct connection until further development happens. We're very excited about this connection. And next slide, please. But we would like to see more aesthetic and exciting elements to really mark this moment. Right now, we kind of have a billboard and some casino parking signage, things like that, that really seem to sort of misdirect because you really wouldn't come down this bridge for casino parking. We really want to rethink how this looks and feels and how it can act as a hub or a trailhead and really make this a safer intersection. I believe it's 7 lanes currently. Memorial Bridge Loop is removing a full lane. So we'd like to continue to look at how we can safeten up this intersection, but also beautify it and really integrate it into the surrounding Metro Parks landscape. And next slide.
Thanks so much, Dan. Just to wrap up, reiterating what Dan said, we are very appreciative of the Bedrock team working with us through the finer details of this design. This truly sets the bar for what public experience and circulation should be like throughout the city. And as we think about the waterfront connection and access to the river, it's a beautiful experience that we're so excited to see come to fruition. So really appreciate the team working with us on the finer details. I think the commission will see that many of the conditions and conversations that we've had through the conceptual and schematic reviews have been refined and addressed coming back here. And we are excited to continue to collaborate on the Eagle Ontario Gateway and intersection to bring back that same level of detail and thoughtfulness to the commission for review, as well as the wayfinding signage and building signage and public art.
Thank you, Director.
Madam Chair, I will be the perpetual broken record here. And I've brought this up several times about Ontario. I don't want everyone to be so zeroed in on intersections. I think Ontario needs to be looked at. We need to understand how we create a more inviting environment, deal with this traffic, pedestrians, connections, not just at this intersection, but all of Ontario. And I think we have an opportunity to do that, how it ties back to Public Square, how it ties back to the riverfront, and how it ties back to the lake. Because if we miss this opportunity, you're not going to be able to come back and revisit it. But we're going to be doing the next thing. So this really needs to be intentional. And I've been banging the drum for a lot of years on this. And I think this is an opportunity. Might be the only opportunity because we have a partner across the table, to be totally honest. And lastly, more importantly, I'm a little confused by what we're approving. It says Cleveland Clinic Global Peak Performance Center, but we're not approving a Global Peak Performance Center. This is infrastructure. So I would like the record to reflect that this is infrastructure and not this particular building or site. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Other comments, questions for our guest today?
I think only one comment. I think on page 16 with the sections of the bridge, potential public art opportunity. I know that riding the rail, there's certain like public art on kind of the supports of certain bridges along, like I think it's after you leave Tower City and you're going further east. I think it's collaborations that have been done with Land Studio on art down there. So I just think potentially a public art opportunity for those supports, working with an artist that can maybe liven that experience as you're passing from the rail to look outside the window. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. I also just want to comment and appreciate Dan for your comments around the accessibility and just your prioritization as a daughter of a mother who has accessibility challenges and different places that we travel and just trying to navigate how to access the beauty of whatever city or location that we're at. So I just want to appreciate you lifting up the beyond what is required, but to be radically inclusive. I really appreciate that language and the intentionality of, how do we make sure that this is in fact accessible to all in our city. So thank you for that comment, Dan. I'm gonna look to I'm sorry. Did you have something?
No, I was gonna try to do the motion.
Oh, yeah, young man.
Let's get because I wanted to include definitely Dan's comments, but
you're on page 8.
Page 8. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion of approval for I think this is the public realm. Was it 1A? Sequence 1A, with the recommendations from staff to work with staff on the driveway reduction and some of the accessibility requirements on the Riverwalk. Then also for the applicant to work with their engineering on their engineer on the changed material across the bridge, the steel, galvanized steel to the weathering steel. And there was no other conditions, right? Okay.
I would just note.
You can turn on your microphone.
Oh.
My apologies. Just about the things that will be worked on with staff at the bottom.
Okay, and for the applicant to continue to work with staff on the recommended conditions. I think I mentioned the North Clinic driveway, but then also the Ontario section gateway design and signage package and public art components.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Evelyn, please call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife,
Yes.
and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion's approved with those conditions.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I would
Thank
also
you.
say the rendering, the before and after on page, what page is this? Page, I don't know, page 20. I think that's probably one of the most important graphics that we've seen thus far. I love the the eye perspectives, but I think that graphic that shows the connection, shows the progressive field, I think This is probably the most important image. Give people like a real understanding of what's going to happen. So whoever is going to be reporting on this, use that image.
Are we talking this one? This one.
I think this shows the story, you know.
This is sort of the image we've all wanted to see.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And thanks to MKSK for creating it, the city for pushing us, but also it excited our team too.
Yeah, it should
think
excite everyone.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And for those who may not know, demolition of the viaduct over the RTA tracks started really in earnest before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, come by.
Sorry.
Great. Thank you.
All right, we have a slate of administrative approvals. We'll just need a motion and a second to advance these. Please take a moment to look those over.
Madam Chair, I move to the slate of administrative approvals.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. You have a motion, a second. Evelyn, please call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
Slife just walked away, not present, and Whitfield.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Fantastic. All right, we have just one more item or two more items, excuse me. We have a special presentation for information only on the North Coast Waterfront Development. I'm going to invite Mr. Skinner to come up here to discuss that. Hello. Can you just state your full name for the record? sir?
Scott Skinner.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for having me. The purpose of this is to sort of walk you all through and make sure you're informed about the request for qualification process that we're currently just about to wrap up to bring on actual development partners for the North Coast. When I say the North Coast, that is the 25 acres of surface parking lot north of Brown Stadium and the plus or minus 25 acres of land that Brown Stadium currently sits on, assuming that it is demolished in 2029. This RFQ came from my organization as opposed to the city. We worked with CBRE, our brokerage firm, that allows us to collect data on who is opening these things, what pages they're looking at, so we can better track developer interest as we're working through. I should add in addition to this, this being sent out to thousands of local, regional, national, international developers. I personally spent several months attending real estate conferences in Toronto, Chicago, Florida, Texas, DC, to meet with developers individually, walk them through the site, talk about the opportunity here. And, one of the really exciting things, one developer told me this, and I've just been plagiarizing it ever since, which is where else in North America is there 50 acres of publicly owned waterfront land that's also in the middle of a central business district? And what a tremendous opportunity that is. So what I'm going to do here is walk you through the actual RFQ itself, and I'm going to go pretty quickly because it is a long document. And then the real purpose of this presentation is to give you an update on where we are in the process and what our criteria has been in evaluating responses, just to ensure that you're informed, because over the next couple of years, if everything goes well, we will be in front of this body quite a lot, presenting actual plans and development proposals. There we go. So just letter from the mayor talking about the exciting opportunity. Broken down into a couple parts: development guidelines, principles, the site, development strategy, and there's a long section on the Cleveland market that I won't bore you with here. But one thing that's important to recognize here is, and we reference this later in the RFQ, while obviously the site changes without the presence of a football stadium on it, the several years of community engagement, the 5,000 plus survey responses, the 200 plus community meetings that the city did before I was even in this role, and then that I continued, that data is still relevant to what we're doing here. And you'll see throughout this document the original lakefront master plan that was done by field operations and the design principles and the community engagement that was solicited from it. You can see it to reference throughout the document. So just an executive summary that we are, in this release, we were referring to it as up to 50 acres of land. And the reason for that is we are asking for, interested in both master developer, similar to Bedrock, would take on the entire site and sort of plan it with us. Also very open to individual developers and sort of parceling it up and sort of figuring out the geometry of where everyone goes with individual uses. You can see the key goals to the development are literally that's taken directly from one of the slides from the master plan that field operations put together: improve access and connectivity to the lakefront, create a welcoming destination that belongs to everyone, and unlock economic development opportunities by repurposing vacant and underutilized land. And this is just a summary of sort of what my organization has done with the city in the last year to make sure folks who are maybe not based in Cleveland are aware of what is going on here. So quick summary, North Coast Connector, $284 million infrastructure project is the first phase of that, is fully funded, starting in 2027. We've established short accord, short TIF, as well as a new community authority, which are financing tools that development partners are very interested in because it allows for the financing and the facilitation of non-revenue generating assets like district parking or public space or roads and infrastructure. Master planning and community engagement, that we have thousands upon thousands of data points from our community, and that we've already started to activate the space with the North Coast Yard, which I brought here before you earlier this year. So process and expectations. Again, these were the 4 priorities that were in the Lakefront Master Plan that field operations put together in partnership with the city. These were the 4 overarching goals of what the lakefront can be, which is economic opportunity. That the plan needs to focus on racial equity. The plan needs to focus on climate resiliency, and most importantly, joy. We want this to be a joyful place that folks from Cleveland and folks who are traveling from outside of Cleveland can experience. Just an overview of the shore to quarter shore strategy to give folks, again, from outside of Cleveland an idea of what we're doing. This is how we reference the North Coast Master Plan. So we do have this initial image in there, and although the site will change and the next version of the plan will change quite a bit, we are making sure that our future development partners understand that whatever they are proposing, whenever they are working, whatever they're going to ultimately build, still has to align with the goals and values that were part of the community engagement process through the Lakefront Master Plan. Similarly, the design principles that were part of the Lakefront Master Plan. On the left, you see embrace the skyline, the bluff, vary the shoreline, celebrate the working waterfront, integrate thoughtful and equitable development, center equitable and multimodal transit, expand water access, connect core to shore, and foster joy and activation. And then on the right, I won't go through all those. Those are just sort of what those design principles look like in actual design and development. Some aspirational examples to sort of anchor potential development partners on what we're actually looking for. An outline of the project site. So this is obviously an old image. Those 2 port buildings were demolished in 2021 for the NFL draft, but this is the site that we are asking for solicitations for. And a more direct overview of the site itself. So you can see the land that is currently just surface parking, the land the stadium sits on, and the land bridge itself. Our development partners are not going to be constructing the land bridge. That is a separate process that will be done by a progressive design builder the city will contract with. Just again, discussing access and what the site is, making sure that our development partners know that this is coming up as the result of a $284 million enabling infrastructure project. One of the reasons the site has not been developed in 100 years is that it's really hard to get to. And while realigning the shoreline and building the land bridge will solve for all of those access problems, it will make it more development friendly site. Again, for folks outside of Cleveland, the purpose of this is just to sort of zoom out and talk about connectivity to our waterfronts more broadly from the vehicular, pedestrian, bike perspective. Again, even without a stadium, making sure that folks know that there are some significant assets down there already. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Great Lakes Science Center annually bring almost 1 million visitors, and that there's already some park space and multifamily up in North Coast Harbor. And then this is just to show our development partners what we've done to activate the space already. As a bit of a report out, in 2.5 months of this being open, we saw 25,000 unique visitors to the North Coast Yard this summer. A series of a handful of a couple very large events, but regular activation that included futsal, so European style soccer league on Monday evenings, P League, the basketball league playing on Wednesday evenings, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doing live music on Thursday evenings, Rolling Buckeyes turned that whole area into a roller skating rink every Friday throughout the summer, and then we had a handful of events. And I don't want to diminish the North Coast Yard at all, but it was shipping containers, some paving, and a bar. And we saw 25,000 unique visitors to the waterfront. And the reason this is important to show in this request for qualifications document is that developers sometimes actually need help imagining what a space can be. And we are just looking at a 25-acre, very gray surface parking lot with no one in it. It's difficult to imagine what that can be. And one of the things that I'm personally very excited about with the North Coast Yard is it's kind of gotten too popular to close. So while it will likely look different once we develop the site in its permanency, some version of this recreation, basketball, futsal, music will likely exist there in perpetuity. It may not all be together, maybe sort of scattered throughout the site, but these activities have shown us that people want to be down by the water. And if you give them a reason to, you can actually pull folks from neighborhoods. Within those 25,000 visitors, we had 70 different nonprofit organizations partnering with us throughout the summer. They represented every ward, every neighborhood in the city, and the 25,000 visitors represented 162 different zip codes from across the country, including every zip code in the area here. Just making sure our development partners know that public space is a key priority for this site, and that regardless of a stadium being present, a large amount of the site needs to be reserved for public space. I think as we start to create an updated version of our master plan, I think it's a worthwhile conversation to think about how public space should be integrated throughout a 50-acre site as opposed to concentrated all in one area. But that's the next exercise we'll be going through. This is just letting development partners know that the North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation, my organization, is a nonprofit that was created to facilitate lakefront development as well as to hold the public's interest along with the city here. So we'll be working very closely with our development partners to ensure that the principles of the master plan are something, and the design guidelines based on community feedback are constant throughout the entire development process. And again, dive into detail, letting folks know what a new community authority is. This is a financing tool that's unique to Ohio and something that is very valuable. Allows us to leverage future charges to issue debt to construct public amenities. These are sort of the standard city incentive packages that come with development. We are obviously highly motivated to develop a site. So in addition to these sort of standard incentive opportunities, we did make it very clear to our development partners that if there are ideas that work in other markets, we are very open to that as well. And these are just your boring instructions. So we kept the bar to respond to this sort of purposefully low. We wanted to solicit a lot of responses, and I should clarify, this was not a request for proposals. We weren't asking people to show us renderings and what they wanted to build. We're asking for qualifications. We're asking folks for what they've done in the past, what do they think they can do in sort of a verbal or written statement on this site, and what is your team going to look like. So we really asked just for three things: a statement and scope of interest, a list of your qualifications, and how would you approach the project. Between the city, my organization, and likely more than one developer, this is going to be a decade-long collaborative effort, and we wanted to make sure we're filtering in groups up front that understand that and that have a proven history of working collaboratively. There's instructions for submission. And now I'll dive into sort of what the submissions were and our next steps. And this is just to let you all know sort of where we are in the process and what was proposed. I don't have any developers' names on here, and that's on purpose. This is just to give you an idea of sort of what was proposed. Yes.
Madam Chair, to Mr. Skill, before you jump into that, I always look for opportunities. Yeah. Again, I know maybe the land bridge is cooked, but Okay, no, seriously. Seriously, the stadium's not gonna be there. Let's assume that's the case. Since council, thank you. Councilman Slice and council for approving the deal.
Reluctant, you're welcome.
Would that impact or maybe could that impact location? Or
Sure.
No, just throwing that out.
No, I appreciate it. I think without a stadium there, we would be foolish not to look at the orientation and ultimate touchdown point of the land bridge. The city is in the process of onboarding an owner's representative, and next year we'll be issuing a request for qualifications for a progressive design build firm that will advance the design of the land bridge. And the progressive design build firm is an important component of that. I'm sure you are all familiar. I was not. It allows us to continue to iterate and continue to alter the actual plans that we're producing much later in the design process than you otherwise would. And when we're talking about sort of coordinating a new master development plan with new development partners, that's a really valuable tool to have. So the answer is yes. I think we'd be foolish not to look at it. I don't think the idea of the land bridge is going away because that is something that is, I would argue, more necessary without a stadium there.
Madam Chair, I also wanted to add, this may be a little bit premature, but maybe you need to think about the area around Burke, Lakefront Airport or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's way off in the future somewhere, but
Yeah,
it's something to consider.
Yeah, it's a good question and consideration. I think, this is a 50-acre site is an enormous real estate site. A 450-acre site is a whole nother animal. And I wanted to, so one is not using tomorrow. And it's a very, if it happens, is a very, very long process. So I wanted to separate this site from the Brook site. But to your point, the thing that is important to consider as we put together a new updated master plan is making sure we're doing that in the context of potentially being on the table in the future. Any other comments before we move on? So we received 18 total responses, which was very excited about. I'll go through this in a little bit, evaluated them using the criteria that we will go over in a second. We invited 11 to interview with the selection committee that I'll go over in a little bit as well. And then we've interviewed all of them. We are in the process of making our final decisions and expect to have an announcement in the near future for who the development partner or partners are. This is probably what everyone wants to see. So these were the proposed uses that we received. There were 5 members of our selection committee, and what you see in green is based off of the criteria, how many of those members voted for the group each use to move on to the interview phase. So if you see a 3, 4, or 5 in green, that just means that this group was voted to be interviewed at the fact. So you see a handful, consulting services, hospitality, a music venue component, transportation center, mixed use hospitality, sports anchor sort of master plan, low-income housing tax credit housing. 2 that are crossed out were groups that just responded as a planner, and that's just not what we were looking for in this exercise. We will be bringing on a planner early next year. That wasn't what this exercise was. Master developer for the site that includes housing and hospitality, just planning services with the initial development services. One group proposed sort of stadium renovation consulting services. We're not proposing actually renovating the stadium, just helping us figure out how to do it if we wanted to. And then design consulting services, housing, mixed use housing, hospitality, mixed income housing, mixed use entertainment center, and a Hyperloop demonstrator. It's a very complicated sort of Hyperloop project that just went around the site. These were evaluated.
You guys know that one? Very cool.
And then in role, you can see groups that either proposed that they would be the master developer for the entire site, or that they want to develop an individual component for the site.
My apologies. This Say again with the final column.
So the final column, so there were 5 folks on this, our selection committee. If using the criteria that I'll go over in just a second, if 3 or more of them voted, that's the number of people who voted for that used to move on.
Score. Of
Correct,
15.
yeah, who
Okay.
voted for it to move on based off of the scores.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is the timeline and the evaluation criteria. As you can see, we're a little behind on the timeline. We're close. We received, frankly, more responses than I anticipated, and took a little bit longer to schedule interviews with everyone, which is why I think we're a little delayed on the timeline. So when we were evaluating the actual RFQ responses that folks sent in, again, we sort of went through the 3 evaluation criteria a little bit ago, but statement and scope of interest, so proposed use and fit with principles of the master plan. It includes economic impact, activation, and community benefits. Qualifications, so the quality of the team, history, financial capacity, likelihood of success really is what we're going after. And then project approach, so cohesion with the lakefront vision and project goals, and a commitment to collaboration. So each of those criteria were scored on a 1 to 5 basis. And then we invited 11 to interview. And what we asked them to present in our interviews were a detailed description of their concept. Again, we did not ask for renderings or anything like that, just a description of what the concept was. Needs in terms of acreage, parking, utility capacity, financing plan. We weren't asking for a detailed pro forma, but an idea that they had put some thought into how they would actually finance what they're proposing. The project team itself, and we wanted to be deliberate with, we're not looking for the 2 principals of a firm, we are looking for the people that we will be working with on a day-to-day basis. The sort of comp images or renderings, so there were some groups that submitted renderings, but what we're really asking for is, what are you inspired by? What is your goal? And then a community benefits statement, ensuring that folks know upfront that a community benefits agreement will be a part of this project, whether they are an individual developer or a master developer. And then the evaluation criteria in the interviews were viability is really what we're looking for here. Quality of the team, it meets the goals of the project, and again, cohesion with lakefront goals. We interviewed all of them virtually. They were 30-minute sort of presentations followed by 30 minutes of Q&A. And then the last
quick question.
Yes, please.
And apologies if you're going to get to
You're
this.
fine.
How did you and the other reviewers balance conducting these interviews and evaluating the applicants when it was an individual versus an applicant that was proposing the full master development?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we took into it. If we select a master developer, we'll still likely include other individual developers that submitted in this, right? A master developer doesn't develop every component of a project themselves. So we evaluated individual developers on the merits of their project. We're like, if it's a multifamily builder, are they qualified to build apartments, right? If it was a master developer, they qualified to do infrastructure work and build apartments and build hospitality. Really, whatever they were proposing, we were evaluating their qualifications on that. That's kind of how we balanced it. And then, we're still sort of finishing the final decision. But I imagine that we will be sort of playing matchmaker a little bit. There's some groups that we like from an individual perspective, some groups we like from a master developer perspective. So we may end up sort of playing matchmaker and trying to come up with the best plan for everyone.
Thank you.
And then this is the selection committee, just for what it's worth, was the mayor, council president, David Gilbert is my board chair and the CEO of Destination Cleveland, and Mitchell Schneider is a member of my board and the founder and CEO of First Interstate. So these so the 5 of us reviewed every submission, participated in every interview, so we aligned on all of that. That's the last slide I have in this presentation, just in terms of next steps and where we are in the process. And I just want to be transparent with you all. So we will hopefully announce our development partners in the very near future. From there, we will start the process of putting together an updated version of a master plan. Like I said at the top of this, we have so much data on what folks want to see on the downtown lakefront, not just from the North Coast master plan that field operations put together. When you combine that with Cheers and Park and all of these different sort of lakefront projects, we have thousands upon thousands of survey responses, hundreds and hundreds of community meetings. So we felt that we had a good idea of what we knew So the goal of this is to bring a new master planning firm on. I don't know that we'll do a full RFQ process. We'll likely select a handful to invite to interview. That'll be a collaborative process between my organization, city planning, and our development partners. Because the goal of this is to have our development partners at the table. So while we are ambitious in our new master plan, we're also have the folks who are investing their own capital in the project at the table. I can tell you what my goals are for that. As you know, nothing ever goes exactly how you want it to. The goal is that we have some version of an updated plan to share with the public and you all at some point in summer of 2026. At that point, we'll go through additional community engagements, go back to all the neighborhood walk clubs and do all the events, and then iterate on that. And the goal of having a final plan, hopefully by the end of next year. Understanding that the stadium will likely not be demolished until 2029, but that there is probably some public space or infrastructure work we can do north of the stadium before demolition even occurs. So that's all that I have for you to have to answer questions or comments or anything.
Thank you. Really exciting. Any comments or questions? Again, this is just for information only.
Oh, just a personal thing. Anyone who wears an analog watch is okay in my book. So I just wanted to make that clear.
That's on the record, right?
I mean, I always have comments when it comes to the lakefront.
Please, yeah.
Well, and let me just say that I think we all in Cleveland, we share our desire to connect to the lakefront. I think, and just bluntly, sometimes my frustration is we spend not enough time talking about how complicated it is and all of the various things that we need to accommodate. And as a result, I think sometimes we get frustrated and almost take any sort of criticism or questioning as like a form of blasphemy. And so I sometimes feel like I'm starting to become like the cynic when really my frustration is I think that we're not having open public conversations with people about all of the tricky aspects, and all they see is a lack of forward progress, right? I will just say, and I can't let a meeting go by without saying it, I continue to think that the bifurcation of the shoreway is incredibly problematic. I think that the decision to come to that was rushed and it was presented to this body and others as an idea for discussion until the time for discussion was closed. And I really, and I've told this to the administration, I'm really speaking to my colleagues now, the data that were used to justify that, the traffic studies especially looked at traffic within a small window of downtown, basically this section of the shoreway, how much longer would your commute be if you had to get off the shoreway to get back on the shoreway. And as a former crosstown commuter, Cleveland's a very traffic resilient city, meaning that if there's an accident on Chester, you can take Carnegie or Superior. There's a lot of ways to get around, unlike other cities like Pittsburgh where you're hemmed in by topography. But crossing the river, there's only so many pinch points. And if you are getting on the shoreway at MLK and seeking to get to Clifton Boulevard, the backup to get on to Dead Man's Curve begins around East 72nd Street. And what I think has the true point is that the assumption that cars will divert away from the shoreway and stay on I-90 is not the case, because it adds 20 to 25 minutes to your drive only to try to get back up to the lakefront. And people will continue to use the shoreway, and we will route cars basically into and out of the urban core instead of coming up with a design solution for a land bridge that could even be stepped down to accommodate cars coming underneath, getting on the road, and passing through. The shoreway is still a critical connector for trucks coming from the west bank of the flats that otherwise would be driving on city streets. It is a connector for water trucks getting to the Garrett Morgan water plant. And I think that with the Browns Stadium no longer being something that we need to design around, that we really need to rethink this need to bifurcate the shoreway. And we can simultaneously connect access to the lakefront while recognizing that we do need to move people across town. And my frustration has been whenever I bring up this point, and then I'll let August jump in.
No, before you, Madam Chair, not to really cut you off, but I don't understand what you mean by bifurcate.
So right now,
define what you mean.
Yes, and there's a slide in here that shows it. But right now, if you are coming westbound on the Shoreway, you pass under East 9th, and then you start up on a bridge. What is being planned is the Shoreway will essentially, for lack of better terms, end at West 3rd. You would turn left and come up the hill, and then you would turn right to get back onto the Main Avenue Bridge. And if you were coming from the west side, you would be forced off of the Shoreway at Lakeside Avenue and then make a left to come down and get back onto the Shoreway. In community conversations, everyone's been asked, do you support increased access to the lakefront? And that's sort of a loaded question. Everyone says yes. I don't think the specific question of is the opportunity cost of this connector something that you're willing to sacrifice? And I will say, because what I was going to say is when I brought this up, what I hear is, oh, so we care more about people, driving back to the suburbs than about getting access to our lakefront. As if I do want people driving down Clifton Boulevard and stopping at Lucky's and shopping in Cleveland on their way back out to Bay Village. But also, this is about how people move within Cleveland, I don't think that aspect of what's being proposed is understood. The answer is essentially for a land bridge to come down and be able to have a clearance so that vehicles underneath can get onto the bridge. Basically, the tunnel would become too constricted. I have to believe there's a design element somewhere in there. So I'm flagging this for us because I'm not willing at this point to just concede that decision has been made. The other thing, and just a spoiler alert for you and others, is as the chair of the Transportation and Mobility Committee, which oversees the airports, I am going to be calling in the beginning of the year, and I'd encourage colleagues to attend a meeting about the letter of requesting forward progress on the closure of Burke. For what it's worth, I'm sort of arguably 9 to whether or not is or isn't an airport, but I think that the need of it for an airport is overstated, but I also think that the appeal of it as lakefront land is also overstated, and I can get into that more if you'd care to. But just I want you all to know that I want us to have a conversation about that, because I think it's another example of a happy hour conversation among urban planning students is not going to suffice for what we actually do with 450 acres. It's a 2-mile frontage along the lake, but really 1.5 miles of that is a 20-foot dump above the surface. So it's not even lakefront land as much as we'd like for it to be, but I want us to think through, because I do think that the most critical aspect of Burke at this point is not whether or not it's an airport, or is it a park, or is it housing, but if the height restrictions that exist in this land right now because of Burke constricts the development of this 50 acres. So there's almost a point of how do we understand if Burke were to close, what is the timeline for that? How does the city understand the financial implications to different aspects of the budget? I'll leave that aside unless you guys want me to get into it. But how are we planning? I would hate to plan and have to compel shorter buildings and then 3 years down the road find out the airport's going to close. And did we put the cart before the horse by not understanding how the two do interact with each other? Because the easiest thing, and this is then I'll shut up, I swear. The easiest thing for anything along the lakefront to be is parkland. The hardest thing is for it to be development, vertical development. And if we are going to recoup the loss economic spillover of the Brown Stadium, we have to have something more than just a park. And if we are going to come up with a way to develop an airport site that is not going to be even a larger burden on the city's overall budget. It's got to be something more than a park. And that is going to have to include some vertical construction. And when we went through this, this sort of endeavor, when I worked in the previous administration, there were a lot of restrictions in heights along this North Coast Master Plan area because of the vertical clearance of planes taking off. So it is something that I think is pertinent to the immediate discussion.
Just to piggyback, Madam Chair, and I'm not going to spend as much time as Mr. Slife on this, but I'm going to basically say that we have an opportunity to create a comprehensive plan. Now, and what I mean by that is I really, and I'm not trying to be an asshole here, excuse my language, but I don't know what shorter core means. Now, if we're really planning a shorter core development, then I would think about how all connects, including all the avenues and sort of the things that sort of connect to the lake, whether it's at East 55th, or I think we need to look at this as a big global exercise, and then start bifurcating or start peeling off what we can accomplish. Because we have bedrock door a lot, but there are always these nodes that get created, but those nodes never get connected. And I know you guys are thinking about that, but I think this is an excellent opportunity to be more proactive as opposed to reactive in our thinking and our philosophy and thought. Thank you.
I did. I don't know if you all know, but a lot of this has been discussed years ago.
We're on our 17th version of the Lakefront Master Plan.
Well, I'm talking about the connection between here and the lakefront. I was on the board of Look Up to Cleveland years ago, and they did a charrette with a bridge going from 9th Street over to the lakefront. If you can dig through some of those old archives, you might be able to find it. But the idea for the rail going down Euclid Avenue came from that charrette. So, it might behoove you to look at some of those plans that they had back then. I'm sure you can find them.
Can I respond to? Yeah, sure. So one on that note, yes, every sort of version of plans for the lakefront was looked at during the field ops study. As before I was in this role, but if you look at the entire package that they produced for the city, it has images from just about every, not just lakefront, but sort of connectivity to the lakefront study of the last 100-something years. So the historical context is being considered and will continue to be considered here. In terms of proactive versus being reactive, completely agree and understand. I think that one of the challenging things in just the real world, right, is all this talk is going on about right now, but there's no plan or timeline to actually close it. So while we need to be proactive in thinking about, and I say this a lot on panels and in public, thinking about the lakefront as a regional asset as opposed to one real estate site, right? We do have to sort of take into consideration what is and isn't available right now, or what could be available in the future. So completely agree with you. And then, Councilman, I hope you know, I hope I've never conveyed this. I do not think you're against lakefront development because you have specific criticisms about the plan. I want that on the record. And if I do convey that, I apologize and call me out on it. I think you're right. That site is very, very complicated. There are some bulkhead repair work that needs to be done. I have to come back and bore you on submerged land lease consolidation and what that is. But that is work that is ongoing and behind the scenes. Without a stadium, you're talking about the need for a new street grid, right? It's a neighborhood more than just sort of one 125-acre site with a park. And I think there does need to be substantial vertical development there, both housing, hospitality, as well as entertainment and recreation, to start to mitigate the economic impact loss of the Browns moving. And that will be a part of the master plan. And in terms of thinking proactively, I think, thinking about that site, again, in context of the rest of the lakefront and what it can be, because, there's lots of different versions of like low density workspace. Some drive economic development, some don't. So I think there's lots of planning that will happen as we progress. Specifically on the height concept, we've actually done a study on this recently. The land that the stadium is on is entirely outside of the footpath. So you're not limited there on height. And this makes sense when you think about it. Basically, the further west you get, the higher you can build. If you're on like sort of right next to the Mather, like on the furthest eastern portion of it, you're restricted to about 5 stories. So still decent vertical development. As you get to the western portion of the site, you can go to 12, 15, something like that. And you know, as you know, more than most, like economics impact like heights on building in Cleveland just as much as any restrictions do. But you're absolutely right that it is a terribly complicated development site and will take a long time. And that's also part of what I want to convey here is that now that we know there's no stadium, this is a decade plus long development project. You're not going to see a bunch of vertical stuff happening right away. You're not even going to see a bunch of vertical stuff happening right away after a stadium is demolished. It's a very, very complicated planning process and complicated set of real estate transactions as we start to move forward.
To clarify, just because you build physical things on the lake doesn't mean that people don't have access.
Sure, agreed.
I was in Hawaii, and during certain hours, even if you're a hotel or a resort, that is public access. So there are ways around the challenges of vertical integration and also access to water. Yeah. So I don't think if we use that sort of philosophy in trying to access capital to develop, but also providing access to the water is
do not disagree.
Win-win.
I do not disagree at all. And one thing I would like to preemptively ask this body is that as we're coming in for approvals and as we're coming in with plans that I agree with you, Councilman, the Shoreway is also a complicated project and there's disagreements, but that we bifurcate sort of the planning approval process for like development north of it and the Coast Connector project, because those will be 2 different developers, 2 different designers, and 2 different owners at the end of the day.
Thank you. Just to reiterate, you're thinking before the end of the year or top of year that you all make the decision?
Yes.
Understood. In the coming weeks.
As soon as we can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for the presentation. Okay, our last item for today is director report.
Thank you. As we near the end of the year, we have our calendar for the 2026 meeting dates. We will only be meeting one time in January due to the New Year's holiday. January 2nd falls on a Friday. I assume most folks will likely be on a long weekend celebrating the new year. So
recovering.
we encourage that and the sort of mindfulness and intention setting that hopefully we'll all be doing for 2026. As you know, we'll be onboarding 2 alternates for this commission as well early in 2026. So if you could take a look at these dates, if you know already that you will be unavailable for any of those, please let Evelyn and myself know so that we can line up alternates to seat a full commission for applicants coming.
Director and Evelyn, do you mind emailing this document to us? Thank you.
Sorry, it'll also be uploaded to the website shortly. So everyone will have access and it'll be emailed out with the minutes and stuff.
To the point about the alternates, because we have a vacancy in our 7th seat, will you also be looking at those applicants to fill the full time and then their additional 2?
Yes, I anticipate that we'll be bringing to council for confirmation appointments for alternates as well as the 7th seat at the same time. One further note on the calendar is, as we did this year with the timing of the Juneteenth holiday as well as 4th of July, we are sort of shifting onto an alternate week schedule in June and July to accommodate those holidays. So those dates are noted here. We won't be on the 1st and 3rd cadence. We'll be shifted slightly to keep a basically 2-week separation, accounting for the holidays in June and July. So Evelyn will send that out and it will be online as well. The only other thing that I will announce right now is we have another new zoning position posted and live for the commission. This departmental position is for a deputy manager of our zoning section. It's a chief city planner civil service classification. So would encourage anyone you know who may be interested to please take a look and submit an application. This is a new position adding capacity to our zoning team.
Does the city have a way of sharing that via LinkedIn, social media that can be reposted by members of the
Yes,
commission and others?
it should be out on social media and LinkedIn. We can work to share those links directly
Yeah,
so
so
that
that-
you have those easy access.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all from me today.
Madam Chair, I just want to thank Evelyn for her such thoughtfulness. She put, little things I noticed, like on the back of this placard, it's like when unmute, what it looks like. Just small things, you're like awesome in that regard. I just want to say that she's actually created a more simpler and palatable way of navigating the commission.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I did maybe threaten to steal her this morning, but that's a conversation for another day. Just joking, Director, just joking. Just joking. Any other items before we close out for today? All right, well, our meeting is officially adjourned. We will be back here on December 19th. Have a great weekend, everyone.